A week has passed since an explosion rocked the Cascade district. The Farscape fleet maintains strict control of the area, refusing to share investigation details despite public demand for answers. There are questions about whether the new fleet colonel is preventing hunters from investigating, creating rising tensions. A garden area has been completely destroyed by the explosion. With rain forecasted for tomorrow evening that could wash away evidence, investigators are rushing to complete their work before the weather changes. The investigation request for the explosion has been denied. The case bears striking similarities to a previous incident. Skyhaven, a floating artificial island requiring massive energy, is under fleet control through its power supply. The new colonel, still in deep space, is restricting hunter access due to fleet security concerns. A suspect has appeared at HQ just as the colonel's starship approaches for landing in 10 minutes. An emergency order has been issued to deal with the intruder before the colonel's return. The colonel's recent deep space mission faced sabotage attempts, suggesting internal resistance to their leadership. The investigation reveals weapons stockpiling and explosive placement in residential areas, apparently meant to provoke outsiders against the fleet and new colonel. A suspect named Joseph appears mentally unstable, claiming the fleet forced his actions. Security measures are heightened around all access points. The truth about Joseph emerges: a former deep space pilot whose family died in fleet custody. While he blamed the fleet, records show he suffered radiation-induced memory issues and accidentally killed his family while under the influence of self-prescribed medication. He created an alternate reality to cope with his actions. The investigation shifts to a person who infiltrated the fleet with a fake identity. During questioning, they recognize the colonel as someone named Caleb, creating tension. The interrogation uses advanced mood-tracking technology to ensure truthful responses about possible connections to the Ethercore. The interrogation reveals a shocking twist. The colonel confirms he is indeed Caleb, reuniting with someone from his past. The emotional reunion leads to an offer for the person to stay at Caleb's private residence instead of the officer barracks, with the cover story of being his new adjutant. At Caleb's residence, they discuss living arrangements and shared memories, including childhood fears like astrophobia. The interaction reveals a deep personal history between them, suggesting a familial or close relationship from their past. Their reunion marks a significant turning point in both their lives. A tense conversation unfolds between two individuals with an apparent telepathic connection. One person wants to investigate something while being advised to relax in Skyhaven instead. Despite their close relationship, there is some friction about personal space and boundaries. A situation develops at a medical facility involving a patient named Mia who is recovering from being in critical condition after exposure to a metaflux explosion. Initially, visits are restricted, but later allowed through Dr. Jones' intervention. Mia shows signs of withdrawal from the outside world. Mia is shown making progress in her recovery, drinking milk, and following medical instructions. She receives a visitor who is described as a skilled hunter. The conversation reveals concern about someone named Kevi, who has gone missing. The discussion turns to changes in Skyhaven and the fleet's unprecedented ground operations. Previously, the fleet mainly conducted deep space tunnel exploration missions, but now their presence on the ground has increased significantly, marking a major shift in their operational approach. A detailed account emerges about an explosion during a game of hide-and-seek. One child was protected by a special item from their parents who warned them not to trust certain people. The situation involves mysterious individuals searching for someone after the incident. Information is shared about Wanderer's attacks causing energy crystal growth that can affect humans, creating a shell and potentially causing violent behavior. Plans are made to transfer Kevi to Oxo Hospital for treatment by Dr. Noah, though guardian contact remains an issue. Tension rises in Skyhaven due to the Cascade district explosion and increased Wanderer activity. A confrontation occurs involving an Ethercore and unique hunters, leading to a chase and combat situation. A heated conflict develops involving someone called Viper and discussions about a protocol of fragments, with less than 72 hours remaining for a final cleanup. Threats are exchanged regarding protection of someone important. The scene shifts to a more personal moment involving hair drying and conversations about living arrangements. Discussion reveals long-term separation and changes in living situations, with attempts to restore normalcy. A lockdown is announced in Skyhaven due to strange energy fluctuations in the Deepspace tunnel affecting Wanderers. Warnings are given about staying inside during a cleanup operation, with emphasis on safety concerns and complicated circumstances involving an Ethercore. There is an emotional conversation about protection, threats, and promises to end a nightmare situation. There are hints of regret about past decisions and determination to resolve current challenges. A tense conversation takes place about someone needing to take responsibility for their actions now that they are older. Plans are being arranged for the following night. Early morning arrives and there is discussion about transportation needs. During an operation the previous night, someone was discovered in a small garden near a blockade, holding what appeared to be an Ethercore fragment. They are reported to be okay and under medical supervision, with the fleet maintaining possession of the shard. Someone recovers from a fever, while another person admits to hearing them call out during sleep, suggesting they may have experienced nightmares. Plans are made to go out since they missed their outing the previous day. News breaks that Mia has passed away. This leads to questions about whether an explosion incident resulted from fleet negligence and discussions about upcoming lockdown protocols. A young person discusses moving to a new place with help from a professor. Despite losing their sister, they maintain a brave face while adapting to changes. They receive a toy as a gift. A discussion about Ethercores reveals that while many desire their power, few can handle it without being consumed. A character named Viper introduces themselves as Caleb's friend and offers to expose secrets about the fleet's true intentions. A disturbing scene unfolds where someone discusses experimenting with birds, explaining how breaking their wings and damaging their neuromuscular system can make them forget their ability to fly. This serves as a metaphor for control and manipulation. Plans for cleanup and salvaging operations are discussed. There are concerns about potential interference and keeping certain activities secret. Someone promises to hide another person if the truth is discovered. A conversation about astronomy occurs, specifically discussing supernovas and cosmic phenomena. This leads to philosophical musings about how powerful stars are destroyed from within, while humans must endure external forces. A cleanup operation is underway, with reports of increasing monster aggression and high contamination levels. Specimens are described as being close to transformation, requiring immediate action. A confrontation reveals dangers in the world and those seeking power. Someone is scolded for entering restricted zones at night and putting themselves at risk. Emotional concerns about loneliness and protection are expressed. Medical examinations are conducted on an important target. Vital signs show abnormalities blamed on rain. The situation appears to be under close monitoring, with regular checkups planned. A suspicious scene unfolds as a nurse heads toward a restricted armory area instead of the pharmacy. The nurse appears to be collecting stabilizers, and there are mentions of a mind control device chip being planted. This raises concerns about unauthorized access and potential security breaches. A fleet patrol through deep space is discussed, along with an upcoming phase of the Fountain of Atte. A celebratory banquet is planned, but declined due to personal matters, despite it being a direct order from higher-ups. This creates tension between the involved parties. A tense chase scene occurs as someone tries to escape, but is reminded that there are surveillance eyes everywhere. The pursuer offers to take the escapee home, showing a mix of threat and false comfort in their approach. A conversation reveals a complex relationship between two characters, using a childhood memory about an injured cat as a metaphor. The story about putting a bell on the cat to prevent escape parallels the current controlling situation, highlighting themes of protection versus freedom. Medical concerns arise about an infected wound, leading to a heated discussion about protection versus independence. The conversation reveals deep-seated tensions about control and autonomy in their relationship, with one party feeling suffocated by the other's protection. News reports confirm the lifting of a lockdown after an explosion scare in the Cascade district. Plans for the fleet to return to deep space are announced, sparking an emotional confrontation about someone planning to disappear again, showing strained personal relationships. A deeply personal exchange occurs about how two people who once knew each other well have grown apart. The conversation reveals how one person has changed dramatically, leading to discussions about brain manipulation and control versus genuine personality changes. An intense discussion about needs and wants leads to offers of rebuilding their old house, creating a maze-like garden, and promises of eternal protection. The exchange reveals obsessive tendencies and a desire for complete control, masked as care and protection. Flashback moments reveal caring interactions from the past, contrasting with current tensions. The scene shows the evolution of a relationship from genuine care to something more controlling. Details about recent missions are shared, including activities at Flux Nexus and N109 Zone. Group dynamics show tension between members, with references to family bonds and professional obligations creating conflicts. Historical context is provided about events from 14 years ago, involving Josephine's team's defection and the destruction of the Gaia Research Center. The conversation reveals ongoing investigations and hints at experiments involving a special test subject. The discussion concludes with mentions of the Fountain of Atte's upcoming activation and plans for tracking down a missing child. The timing is discussed as critical, suggesting urgent upcoming developments in their plans.